One of the things I'll be working on while we don't have any emails is the 1987 F150 Lariat that I picked up last night. The truck's in pretty good shape, has 101,000 miles, but it needs things done to it. These are things that you could probably do at home with a little bit of patience and know-how. If you don't have the know-how, that's what I'm hoping to help you out with. As you can see, it does need a paint job. Unlike the car shows, we'll just show you how to clean it up, paint it, and get it on its way. It's missing some trim pieces, and it has other issues. Today, what we're going to be doing is replacing or fixing the power window motor. This is an easy fix, but it does take some time and does take a lot of patience. Before you start any job, remember, disconnect the battery. I always have the proper tool. In this case, it'll be a box end wrench. Now we have the battery disconnected, we can safely work on the vehicle. Okay, the first thing we do, we have a two-section panel. You have this one and your lower section. You have your control switch, you have your handle, and you have a rubber grommet. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this rubber grommet. Okay, that's going to make the door handle be easier to slip in and out of the hole to release the panel. Next, you have screws. There. You have some down here. And then you'll have some underneath once we get the cover off. What I'm going to do is go ahead and remove the screws in the cover. Okay, now we've got the screws loose. We're going to remove the panel. You simply lift up easily on the panel. The wing window up here, you'll have to release and open it so it gives you a little clearance underneath the handle part. We're going to work the handle loose, and now you'll see the door handle is hanging up. All you do is simply pull the door handle back out and it slips through the hole. Okay, this is your power unit. This is the door locks and the two windows, the right and the left side. You'll see three screws, one here, there'll be a third one up here. This holds that modular in place, so into the frame. What I'm going to do is I'll remove the three screws, and this unit should pop right out. We have the three screws removed, and it pops right out. Now the panel is free. Okay, now getting back to our project, you'll have screws all along the bottom plate of this. You're also going to have screws that I've already moved along the bottom side you'll have to take out. So we'll do that now. Okay, now we're inside the door panel. You notice what you'll notice is this is the arm that raises the window up and down. Our motor is over here. Now you're going to see that I have 4 pins to hold the motor in. What I'm going to need to do is I got a punch and I have just a regular hammer. I tap the hammer and they come clear. Sometimes they want to stick, so all we do is just push them through. If you remember earlier, what we did is we knocked these pins out from inside. These pins are the factory used to hold in this linkage for the window and also for the motor. And the motor is what we're going to replace. So now I've got these pins out. You're going to see a little bit of the stud left here. There's going to be three or four of these that you're going to have to remove. And then the only way to do that is you're going to have to get a larger drill bit. You just simply take the drill bit and you drill out the studs. Sometimes they spin in the back, so you're going to have to get a screwdriver, a pair of pliers, wherever you can get back there to hold them so they won't spin while you're drilling. Okay, now we got the head of it came off. So what we're going to do now there's a small piece in here that's the rest of the body. We're going to take a center punch, simply take it, you knock it out. Now it's clear. Now I'm going to do the other two. Okay, now I've got it loose. You can see the door, the window arms free in there. You gotta put a block somewhere safely to hold the arm up so this glass doesn't come sliding down. Because what we just did is we're taking out the arm that holds the support to raise it up and down. Okay, we have our arm from the window, and we have the motor out. It's an assembly. You have 3 nuts here, and we'll be taking those off in a minute. When you wrestle something like this out of these holes, you may have to take the block out. So you take it out, and you can see that the window moves up and down. That's because there's nothing holding it in there. So you'll have to hold the window up with one hand and wrestle the part out with the other. Once you're finished, simply put it back under the arm, and you have your hands to use it. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these bolts out. Let's take a look at the gear first and see what it looks like. Sometimes that's all you have is just the gear problem. Okay, now I do have the motor out, and at this point it looks like the gears are in pretty good shape. Okay, here's where we've gotten to. I've got the motor off. I tested the motor and it seemed to move the actuator up freely. So what I did is there was play in it, which there shouldn't be a whole lot of play. So I took it off and I removed the end. These lobes here have worn down. So what's happening when my window's trying to go up, it simply goes past the lobes and there's no pressure to it. So it looks like unless I can find some parts online to replace this, I'm going to have to be buying a new starter motor. Okay, I bought a new motor. The reason I bought a new motor is because you don't want to have to do this in a month or so if this thing goes out again. $35 for a new motor. Sure, I could have gone to a junkyard and probably spent $10 or $15. And then I'm guessing if this is going to go out in a month, a day, a year, or 5 years. Who knows? It's better to go ahead and buy new on this type of project, and then you won't have to mess with it probably for quite a few years. Get the new one installed. You might want to cycle it a couple times. Do that, you just simply plug it back in, you hit your switch. You can see that the new motor, make it cycle a couple times. Make sure it's going to work for you. This one seems to be okay, so now we'll reinstall everything. Now while you're this far, what you need to do is you don't want to get back in here right away. So the best thing is to buy some white lithium grease. Go ahead, coat up the rails on the window, coat up the rail on the bar itself that's going back in. This will allow it to slide a little bit easier. But trust me, you don't want to go back in here a week later because your window's sticking and won't come down. To do that, I simply am going to lower the window down to where I can get it. You see the rail here. I'm just going to squeeze a generous amount on here. And then set this back in place. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some on the gears here. Okay, we got the bar in now and the motor. Next thing we do, we're going to take the block out. We bring the window down. The plastic piece on top we're going to put back in the channel. And you're going to lift the motor up. Earlier you remember that we had to pop out the rivets on the door to get the motor out because there's a factory job. So what I did is I went down and got 4 1/4-inch bolts, hex heads, 2 washers for each, and I put a nylon nut on it. The nylon nut is so that it'll allow it to stay locked tighter longer. Now I'm going to reinstall all the bolts where they need to be, where the rivets used to be. Okay, now we've got the 4 bolts back in. In order to get the top one and the bottom one, the window's going to have to be down about halfway because you can't get the bolt in back there. Remember, you don't want to use anything too long because this could interfere with the door handle or the workings inside. Always put the nuts to the outside. Put your hex head inside and you'll be fine. Now, I'm not going to close this up right now because I've got another project I'm going to be working on. I have a speaker that's going bad. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be showing you how to replace that speaker. Thanks for watching. Hope this helped you out. Oh, and don't forget, once you get that motor in, run it up and down a couple times before you're done, just to make sure she's working. Look at there. That job at the shop would have cost you about $500. Hope that helps out. Have a good day. And remember, if you have something that you want fixed and you're not sure how to do it, or you don't think you can, drop me an email.